Right now, at this very moment, you're carrying something that was never meant to be yours to carry. You're holding on to worries, fears, anxieties, and problems that are weighing you down, making each step harder than it needs to be. And here's what I want you to understand today. You don't have to carry any of it. Not one single bit of it. There's a force in this universe, a power greater than anything you can comprehend with your logical mind, and it's waiting for you to simply let go and allow it to work miracles in your life. You see, most of us have been taught to rely entirely on ourselves. We've been conditioned to believe that if we don't worry about something, it won't get done. If we don't stress about our problems, they won't get solved. If we don't control every aspect of our lives, everything will fall apart. But this is the biggest lie we've ever been told. This belief is the source of all your suffering, all your pain, all your sleepless nights. And today, I'm here to tell you that there's another way. There's a better way. There's a way that brings peace, joy, and miracles into your life without all that struggle. When you give it to God, when you truly surrender your worries and your problems to this infinite intelligence, you're not giving up. You're not being lazy. You're not avoiding responsibility. What you're doing is aligning yourself with the most powerful force in the universe. You're stepping out of your own way. You're removing the biggest obstacle to your success, which is your ego's insistence that you have to figure everything out on your own. Think about this for a moment. The same power that creates galaxies, that makes flowers bloom, that keeps your heart beating without you having to think about it. That power is available to you right now. It's not somewhere far away. It's not reserved for special people. It's right here, right now, within you and around you. And all it asks of you is that you trust it. All it requires is that you stop trying to force things to happen and instead allow them to unfold naturally. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but I have real problems. I have bills to pay. I have responsibilities. I can't just sit around and do nothing. And you're absolutely right. I'm not telling you to do nothing. I'm telling you to do everything differently. I'm telling you to act from a place of peace instead of panic. I'm telling you to move forward with faith instead of fear. I'm telling you to trust that when you do your part and then let go of the outcome, miracles happen. Here's the secret that changed my life and has changed the lives of millions of people. Worry is absolutely useless. It doesn't solve a single problem. It doesn't prevent anything bad from happening. It doesn't make you more prepared. All worry does is steal your joy, drain your energy, and block the very solutions you're looking for. Worry is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. When you worry, you're essentially saying to the universe, I don't trust you. I don't believe you can handle this. I have to figure this out on my own. And when you send out that energy of distrust and fear, you block the flow of miracles. You close the door to possibilities. You disconnect yourself from the source of all solutions. But when you give it to God, when you say, I trust that this will work out for my highest good, you open yourself up to receive help in ways you could never have planned or predicted. Let me tell you something that most people don't understand. The universe is not neutral. It's not indifferent to you. There's an organizing intelligence that wants you to succeed, that wants you to be happy, that wants you to live your best life, but it can't help you if you're constantly pushing against it with your worry and your need to control. It's like trying to swim upstream. You exhaust yourself. You make no progress and you miss all the beauty around you. I've seen this play out thousands of times. Someone has a problem that seems impossible to solve. They've tried everything. They've worried themselves sick. They've lost sleep. They've made themselves miserable. And then finally, when they're at the end of their rope, they surrender. They say, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm giving this to you, God. I trust you to handle this. And within days, sometimes within hours, a solution appears. A door opens, a person shows up. An opportunity presents itself. Something shifts, and what seemed impossible becomes not only possible, but easy. This isn't magic. This isn't wishful thinking. This is how the universe actually works. When you align yourself with the creative power of the universe, when you stop resisting and start allowing, you become a channel for miracles. You become available to receive guidance, inspiration, and help from sources you never expected. You tap into a wisdom that's far greater than your logical mind could ever access. Now, I want to address something important here. Giving it to God doesn't mean you become passive. It doesn't mean you sit on your couch eating potato chips waiting for a check to appear in your mailbox. What it means is that you take inspired action rather than desperate action. You move forward with confidence rather than anxiety. You do what needs to be done, but you do it from a place of trust rather than fear. There's a huge difference between these two approaches. When you act from fear, you're operating from your ego. Your ego tells you that you have to push, force, manipulate, and control. Your ego tells you that if you don't worry, something terrible will happen. Your ego keeps you stuck in struggle because struggle is what it knows. But when you act from trust, you're operating from your higher self. Your higher self knows that you're supported. Your higher self knows that everything is working out. Your higher self guides you toward the right actions at the right time. Think about the best moments in your life. Think about the times when things just flowed. When the right person showed up at the right time. When an opportunity came out of nowhere, when a problem solved itself. What was your state of mind during those times? I'll bet you weren't worrying. I'll bet you weren't stressing. I'll bet you were in a state of relative peace, maybe even joy. That's because when you're in that state, you're aligned with the creative power of the universe. You're in the flow. And here's what's really beautiful about this. The more you practice giving your worries to God, the easier it becomes. The first time you do it, your ego will fight you. It'll tell you that you're being irresponsible. It'll try to pull you back into worry. But if you persist, if you keep choosing trust over fear, something remarkable happens. You start to see evidence that this works. You start to notice that when you let go, things work out. And as you accumulate more and more evidence, your faith grows stronger. Faith isn't something you're born with or without. Faith is something you develop through practice. It's like a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. Every time you give a worry to God and then witness how it gets resolved, your faith muscle grows. Every time you trust instead of panic and then see a positive outcome, you're training yourself to trust more easily the next time. Let me share something with you that's absolutely crucial to understand. The worry you're holding on to right now is not protecting you from anything. It's not making you safer. It's not making you smarter. It's not making you more prepared. All it's doing is making you miserable. And here's the really important part. Your misery is not required for things to work out. In fact, your misery is getting in the way of things working out. You don't have to suffer to earn good outcomes. You don't have to prove your worthiness through stress and struggle. You don't have to pay your dues with anxiety and fear. These are all lies we've been told. Beliefs that have been passed down through generations. The truth is that you're worthy of miracles right now, exactly as you are. You're worthy of ease. You're worthy of grace. You're worthy of having things work out better than you could have planned. When you truly understand this, when you really get it in your bones, everything changes. You stop being at war with life. You stop fighting against what is. You stop trying to force outcomes. Instead, you start to flow with life. You start to trust the process. You start to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to your survival. And this is when the impossible becomes possible. This is when miracles start showing up in your life. Not because you've done something special, but because you've stopped blocking them. You've stopped standing in your own way. You've stopped letting your ego run the show. You surrendered to something greater than yourself. And in that surrender, you found true power. I want you to think about water for a moment. Water is soft, yielding, flexible. It doesn't try to force its way through obstacles. It simply flows around them. And yet, over time, water carves through rock. Water shapes mountains. Water is one of the most powerful forces on earth. Precisely because it doesn't resist, it doesn't fight, it simply flows. This is the power of surrender. This is the power of giving it to God. You become like water. You stop forcing, you stop pushing, you stop struggling. And in that state of flow, you become unstoppable. Not because you're using force, but because you're aligned with the natural order of the universe. Now, I know some of you are thinking about specific problems in your life right now. Maybe you're worried about money. Maybe you're concerned about a relationship. Maybe you're dealing with health issues. Maybe you're facing a challenge at work. Whatever it is, I want you to understand something. The same principle applies to all of it. Every single problem, every worry, every fear can be given to God. When you worry about money, you're telling the universe that you believe in scarcity. You're affirming that there's not enough. You're focusing on lack, and what you focus on expands. But when you give your money worries to God, when you trust that you will be provided for, you open yourself up to receive abundance. You start to notice opportunities you were blind to before. Ideas come to you. People appear who can help you. Doors open that were previously closed. When you worry about relationships, you're coming from a place of fear and insecurity. You're trying to control another person's behavior. You're clinging and grasping. And this energy pushes people away. But when you give your relationship concerns to God, when you trust that you're worthy of love and that the right people will be in your life, everything shifts. You stop being needy. You stop being more authentic. You attract people who are aligned with your true self. When you worry about your health, you're putting all your attention on what's wrong. You're reinforcing the illness with your focus. You're stressing your body with fear, which actually weakens your immune system. When you give your health concerns to God, when you trust in your body's natural healing ability, when you focus on wellness rather than illness, you activate your body's innate intelligence. You support your healing rather than hindering it. Do you see the pattern here? In every area of your life, worry makes things worse and trust makes things better. It's really that simple. And yet, so many of us have been conditioned to do the exact opposite. We've been taught to worry, to stress, to analyze, to figure everything out with our logical minds. But the logical mind is limited. It can only work with information it already has. It can only see possibilities based on past experience. The creative intelligence of the universe has no such limitations. It can create solutions you've never thought of. It can open doors that don't even exist yet. It can orchestrate events in ways that seem miraculous, but only if you get out of the way. Only if you stop trying to control how things happen and instead trust that they will happen in the perfect way at the perfect time. Here's another thing I want you to understand. When you give it to God, you're not alone anymore. You're not carrying the burden by yourself. You have the entire universe supporting you. You have an infinite intelligence guiding you. You have a power working on your behalf that never sleeps, never gets tired, never gives up. This power is working for you right now, even as you read these words. It's arranging circumstances. It's aligning events. It's bringing together the people, resources, and opportunities you need. But here's what stops most people from experiencing this support. They keep taking the burden back. They give it to God. And then 10 minutes later, they're worrying about it again. They surrender and then they immediately try to control again. It's like trying to float in water but constantly tensing up and thrashing around. You can't float if you're fighting. You can't receive help if you're insisting on doing everything yourself. This is why developing a practice of surrender is so important. It's not a one-time thing. It's a daily practice, a moment practice. Every time you notice yourself worrying, you pause. You take a breath. You consciously give that worry to God. You say, I release this. I trust you to handle this. I know it's being taken care of. And then you redirect your attention to something that brings you peace or joy. At first, you might have to do this 50 times a day. Your mind is trained to worry. It's a habit. But habits can be changed. Every time you choose trust over worry, you're creating a new neural pathway in your brain. You're literally rewiring yourself. And over time, trust becomes your default state. Peace becomes your natural condition. And this is when you're living in the miraculous. Living in the miraculous doesn't mean that challenges disappear. It means you handle challenges differently. It means you face difficulties with peace instead of panic. It means you trust that even the hard things are working for your highest good. It means you see every experience as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to expand. And here's something really important. When you live this way, you inspire others. You become a light in the darkness. People look at you and wonder how you stay so calm, so peaceful, so joyful in the midst of life's storms. And you can share with them what you've learned. You can tell them about the power of surrender. You can show them through your example that there's another way to live. This is how we change the world, not through force or struggle, but through being living examples of peace, trust, and faith. When enough people start living this way, the entire collective consciousness shifts. We create a tipping point where love becomes stronger than fear, where trust becomes stronger than worry, where faith becomes stronger than doubt. But it starts with you. It starts with your willingness to let go of your need to control. It starts with your decision to trust. It starts with you giving your worries to God and keeping them there. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Not because you can't handle things, but because you understand that there's a better way. Let me tell you something else that's really important. When you give it to God, you're not avoiding responsibility. You're actually becoming more responsible. You're taking responsibility for your energy, for your vibration, for your state of mind. You're recognizing that the most important thing you can do is maintain your inner peace. Because when you're at peace, you make better decisions. When you're at peace, you're more creative. When you're at peace, you're more effective in everything you do. Think about it this way. If you're drowning in worry and anxiety, how much good can you really do? How much joy can you experience? How much love can you give? How much creativity can you express? The answer is not much. Worry depletes you. It drains your energy. It clouds your judgment. It blocks your intuition. It disconnects you from your source. But when you're at peace, when you're trusting, when you've given your worries to God, you're operating at your highest level. You're clear. You're energized. You're inspired. You're guided. You're effective. You're actually able to do what needs to be done and do it well, because you're not doing it from a place of desperation or fear. This is what it means to let go and let God. You do your part with excellence, but you release your attachment to the outcome. You take action when action is called for, but you don't force things. You show up fully, but you trust that the results are being handled by a power greater than yourself. And here's what happens when you live this way. You start to experience synchronicities. Meaningful coincidences start happening all the time. You think of someone and they call you. You need information and you randomly run into someone who has it. You're wondering what to do next and a clear sign appears. These aren't accidents. These are the universe's way of showing you that you're aligned, that you're on the right path, that you're being guided. Pay attention to these synchronicities. They're messages for you. They're confirmation that you're connected to the infinite intelligence. They're evidence that you're not alone, that you're being supported, that miracles are real. And the more you notice them and acknowledge them with gratitude, the more they happen. It becomes a beautiful feedback loop where faith generates evidence, which generates more faith, which generates more evidence. Now I want to address something that often comes up when people start practicing surrender. Sometimes when you give something to God, the situation gets worse before it gets better. This is actually a good sign. It means that whatever needed to fall away is falling away. It means that old patterns are breaking down so new ones can form. It means that you're being cleared out to make room for something better. When this happens, don't panic. Don't think that surrender isn't working. Don't take the problem back and start worrying again. This is exactly when you need to trust most. This is when you need to say, okay, I don't understand why this is happening, but I trust that it's part of the process. I trust that I'm being guided to something better. I trust that this is all working out for my highest good. This kind of trust in the face of apparent difficulty is advanced spiritual practice. It's easy to trust when everything is going well. It's much harder to trust when things look like they're falling apart. But this is exactly when your trust is most powerful. This is when you're declaring to the universe, I believe in you no matter what my physical eyes see. I believe in the power of good no matter what circumstances suggest. And I promise you, if you can hold this trust, if you can maintain this faith, you will witness miracles. You will see situations that seemed impossible resolve themselves. You will experience outcomes that are better than anything you could have planned. You will understand why things had to unfold exactly the way they did. This is what it means to live by faith instead of by sight. It means trusting in what you can't see more than what you can see. It means believing in the invisible realm of spirit more than the visible realm of matter. It means knowing that there's a power working behind the scenes that's orchestrating everything for your highest good. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you live this way, when you give everything to God and stop worrying, you actually have more control over your life. Not the ego's version of control, which is really just an illusion anyway, but real influence. You have the power to shape your reality through your consciousness. You have the ability to attract what you want by becoming a vibrational match for it. You have the capacity to create miracles by aligning with the miraculous. This is your true power. Not the power to force things to happen, but the power to allow things to happen. Not the power to manipulate circumstances, but the power to flow with the perfection that's already unfolding. Not the power to fight against what is, but the power to accept what is and trust that it's leading you somewhere better. So right now, I want you to do something. I want you to take a moment and think about what you've been worrying about. What's been keeping you up at night? What's been weighing on your mind? What problem have you been trying to solve all by yourself? Get clear on what it is and then consciously give it to God. Say it out loud if you can. Say, I give this to you. I can't handle this on my own. I'm tired of carrying this burden. I trust you to resolve this in the perfect way at the perfect time. Thank you for taking care of this for me. And then here's the most important part. Let it go. Really let it go. Stop thinking about it. Stop analyzing it. Stop trying to figure out how it's going to work out. Every time your mind goes back to that worry, gently redirect it. Remind yourself, I've given this to God. It's being handled. I don't need to worry about it anymore. And then focus on something else, something that brings you joy or peace. This might feel strange at first. Your ego will fight you on this. It'll tell you that you need to keep thinking about the problem. It'll try to convince you that if you stop worrying, something bad will happen. But don't listen to your ego. Your ego doesn't have your best interest at heart. Your ego only knows fear and limitation. Your higher self knows that you're safe, supported, and guided. As you practice this, as you keep giving your worries to God and keeping them there, something shifts inside you. You start to feel lighter. You start to breathe easier. You start to sleep better. You start to smile more. You start to enjoy your life again. And this change in your energy changes everything. You become more attractive to opportunities. You become more magnetic to solutions. You become a beacon for miracles. And the miracles will come. They might not come in the way you expect. They might not come on your timeline, but they will come. And often they'll be better than anything you could have imagined, because the universe isn't limited by your imagination. The universe isn't constrained by your past experience. The universe has infinite possibilities available, and it can deliver solutions that are perfect for you in ways you never would have thought of. I've seen people healed from illnesses that doctors said were incurable. I've seen people receive money from the most unexpected sources when they were on the verge of bankruptcy. I've seen relationships restored that seemed beyond repair. I've seen careers transform overnight. I've seen people find their purpose and passion after years of feeling lost. And in every single case, it happened after they stopped struggling and started surrendering. It happened after they gave it to God. This is available to you too, right now, today. You don't have to wait. You don't have to become more spiritual or more worthy or more anything. You just have to be willing to let go, willing to trust, willing to believe that there's a power greater than yourself that wants to help you. And as you practice this, as you make surrender your way of life, you'll start to notice something beautiful. You'll start to notice that you're happy for no reason. You wake up in the morning feeling grateful just to be alive. You look at the sky and be moved by its beauty. You'll interact with people and feel genuine love and connection. You'll experience joy that doesn't depend on your circumstances. This is the peace that passes all understanding. This is the joy that's independent of external conditions. This is what happens when you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. This is what happens when you give it all to God and trust that everything is being taken care of. And from this place of peace and trust, you become more effective in the world. You make better decisions. You take more inspired action. You attract better opportunities. You create better outcomes. Not through struggle, but through alignment. Not through force, but through flow. Not through worry, but through trust. This is the secret that the great spiritual teachers throughout history have been trying to tell us. Let go, surrender, trust, have faith. Stop trying to do it all yourself. Allow the universe to support you. Give your burdens to God and watch as the impossible becomes possible. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were never meant to figure everything out on your own. You were never meant to live in constant worry and anxiety. You were meant to live in peace. You were meant to experience joy. You were meant to trust in a power greater than yourself. You were meant to witness miracles. And the moment you truly surrender, the moment you really give it to God and stop worrying, that's when the impossible starts happening in your life. That's when doors open that were previously closed. That's when solutions appear that you never thought of. That's when help arrives from unexpected sources. That's when you realize that you've never been alone, that you've always been supported, that you've always been loved. This is your birthright. This is your natural state. This is how you are meant to live. And all you have to do is stop fighting it. Stop resisting it. Stop trying to control it. Just let go. Trust. Have faith. Give it to God and watch what happens. Watch as your life transforms. Watch as miracles become your new normal. Watch as peace replaces anxiety. Watch as joy replaces fear. Watch as grace replaces struggle. You are so much more powerful than you think you are. Not because of what you can do with your own limited strength, but because of what can be done through you when you align with the infinite power of the universe. You are a channel for miracles. You are an expression of divine love. You are a co-creator with God. But you can only experience this power when you stop blocking it with your worry and your need to control. So today, make a decision. Decide that from this moment forward, you're going to practice surrender. You're going to give your worries to God. You're going to trust in the process. You're going to have faith that everything is working out for your highest good. You're going to stop struggling and start flowing. You're going to stop forcing and start allowing. You're going to stop worrying and start trusting. And as you do this, as you make this your practice, your life will change in ways you cannot yet comprehend. You will experience a level of peace you've never known. You will witness synchronicities that take your breath away. You will receive help from sources you never expected. You will find solutions to problems that seemed unsolvable. You will experience the impossible becoming possible in your life. This is not a promise that everything will always be easy. This is not a guarantee that you'll never face challenges. What this is a promise that you'll never have to face those challenges alone. It's a guarantee that there's always a power working on your behalf. It's an assurance that when you surrender to God, when you give your worries away and trust in the process, miracles happen. So give it to God. Stop worrying. Trust the process. Have faith. And watch as the impossible becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Watch as your life transforms from struggle to grace, from anxiety to peace, from limitation to infinite possibility. This is your moment. This is your chance. This is your opportunity to step into a new way of being. Take it. You won't regret it. And when you begin to live this way, truly surrendered, truly trusting, you will notice something even more profound. Life starts to cooperate with you. The things that once felt heavy begin to move effortlessly. The right people cross your path, not by accident, but by divine appointment. The timing of events begins to make sense. Even the delays and detours reveal themselves as blessings in disguise. You start to see that nothing is random, nothing is wasted, and nothing is outside of God's reach. Every moment, every challenge, every blessing becomes part of a divine orchestration designed to lead you higher, deeper, and closer to your purpose. This is the beauty of walking by faith. You no longer live in reaction to life, you live in harmony with it. You no longer chase after peace, peace begins to chase after you. So today, let this be your declaration. I release control. I trust the one who holds the universe in his hands. I choose faith over fear, peace over panic, surrender over struggle. Make it your daily rhythm, morning, noon, and night, to hand your burdens to God and refuse to take them back. Because the truth is, you were never created to carry the weight of worry. You were created to be a vessel of faith. And as you live from this truth, the very atmosphere around you changes. You become a witness to grace in action, a living testimony that when you let go and let God, miracles don't just visit occasionally, they become a way of life.